You are watching Tomorrowpictures.TV.
My name is Patricio Manuel. They also call me Pat or Cacahuate, which is Spanish for peanut. I got that nickname because of how small my head is. I'm born in Gardena, California, called Long Beach, California, my home though. And I am a boxer who is also a queer trans person of color.
Just tell me, what was your first impression of Parris Island and how did it change you?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking that question. You arrive at Parris Island in those days, I don't know if they do it now, but you arrive at midnight. And I was actually didn't know what to expect. I've heard the stories before, but I didn't know what to expect. And I can remember the drill instructors getting on the bus, and I can remember that the only thing I remember is him turning to the recruits, if you will, and saying something to the effect of, this is Parris Island. Through these doors walk the finest men and women in the United States military. He said, and you have 14 minutes to get off the bus, and 13 are gone. And I remember clothes and luggage and everything just flying everywhere and getting off the bus. So it was a real shock, and I think the Marines intend to do that. To put you through a real culture shock of a different environment, contrary to what you've ever seen. And they do it well, and they've been doing it for 200 plus years. So Candy O'Bell going there was no different. And incidentally, it was interesting, given my first name's Candy, they had a good time with me. So, and that's another story.
When I overcame my fears and went on my first mission trip to Central America, I know people who knew me were concerned about me and thought maybe I was a little crazy, just because of always being very picky about my surroundings and hotels I would stay at, for instance. So when I got there, I was shocked because I had been told, that we would have a nice hotel to stay in. It was actually a compound, and their perception of nice was not my perception of nice. So it was a struggle for me. It was a bit of a shock, the extreme heat that we dealt with. I had a heat rash all over my body, the first night there, and suffered, with high fever, feeling sick, and migraines, and just feeling uncomfortable with insects everywhere, and that sort of thing, and not the type of conditions that I'm used to, and having to be worried about the water in the shower and things like that. And I struggled for a few days there and also felt ill-equipped. Why am I here? What can I possibly add on this trip? Because I seem like the most unlikely person to go to a third world country, and be there to help people. But I really, after, 2 or 3 days and encouragement from my team members and through prayer, I was able to get past my physical concerns with my physical body and the physical surroundings and really focus on the people. And I found that the people that we would go and visit in their homes, which are just basically concrete walls with windows and doors open to the outside, a dirt floor, no indoor plumbing, no electricity, and even things that we take for granted, such as getting regular mail, not even talking about email, but regular mail, these people don't have. But they would greet us and say, "We are so blessed that you're here to visit us, and we're blessed because we just got a concrete floor that your church put in our house, and now we can have visitors from the city come and spend the night with us and go to church with us because we have a floor." And it amazed me that they seemed so joyful and really valued time with people, and we just don't have that here.
Well, queer is a term, an umbrella term, basically used to identify. It's more of a political statement than necessarily like a sexual orientation. To identify people that diverge from the mainstream norm. So rather than falling under the LGBT umbrella, which often still tries to go and still be. Oh, I gotta do that over. Trying to. How did you know how many things they do on defining queerness? Like, I've been on panels for it. It's hard. Okay.
Yeah, and we live in a culture where most people have no idea who that person is. Most people will, 90% of people who live in America know someone who is gay or lesbian. Right? Like, that's commonplace. Only 9% of people living in America think they know someone that is trans.
Where'd you get the statistic from?
Glad.
Damn
It's
glad.
on the front page. Glad.
I hate that organization. Don't put that on there, though. I may need them later.
It was probably about the time when I got to like 12 or 13 years old that I really was struggling with that I was gay. And it was difficult for me. And I actually didn't come out until I was like 18 years old. I basically put a lot of my efforts into school, mostly music and languages. I actually got Who's Who in Music for 1983 in America. It's Who's Who in American high school music in 1983. After I graduated, I moved permanently to New York, and it was at this time that I came out. Not to my family, but to friends. I had started college where I met my first friends and my first gay friend. And at that time, we were going to clubs, and I was trying to find myself. Also at this time was basically when the HIV/AIDS epidemic had just started.
I don't know many people who have served in more than one branch. We have a saying, or at least we used to have a saying, we used to call them Mustangs. And I had no idea that I was doing what I was doing until it was done, really. I looked at it as a job. I looked at it as an opportunity. I looked at it as a way, really, to be truly honest in thinking about it, I looked at it as a way for a young black man to excel. And that's kind of how I looked at it. And that's what was instilled in me and my parents, that it was an opportunity for a young man, a poor young man, to go somewhere and do something to change his life, to make a difference. And that's what was in my head. So I don't know, I cannot speak for anyone else, but I can certainly say that that was my reasoning for doing what I did.
You are watching Tomorrowpictures.TV.